The corner, the corner, the corner. Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you'll find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, unscripted, unfiltered conversation, like you're home with your cousin. It's all about life. It's about finance. It's about spirituality. It's about love and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey. So sit back and listen in as we dive into a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on with an array of thoughts and opinions. My goal is to create a space all for us to connect and communicate. It's not really about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy it. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about the corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. What's going on, fam? What's going on, fam? We are back with another one, and we are being honored again today. And I'm just pleased. I'm over here smiling with joy to have this queen on today. Y'all know how I feel about social media. It is a gift and a curse, and today I feel gifted to have found this queen, and just her vibration, I would say, made me pick and choose for her, ask her to be a guest on Cousin Ed's Corner. When My Sistah Wins, we all win. So we are definitely winning today with Queen RAH. Queen RAH, welcome to Cousin Ed's Corner.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Thank you for welcoming me into this space.
You are definitely welcome. You can come back anytime. The key is under the mat. You are at home now with your cousin. So, well, we had a brief conversation before, and we were just talking. It's about life and just finding your way. So I like to always start the show with letting people know a little bit more about who you are, not your pamper story, but how did you get to where you're at right now? And then we can talk about some of the things you're doing and introduce just you to Cousin Ed's Corner.
Yeah. Well, I'm someone who, like many of us, have come from humble beginnings. I have a father who is schizophrenic. So at an early age, I was exposed to, mental illness and awareness of that within health. So despite that upbringing and just, my family unit dynamic, initially, I end up going to college, like most of us do in terms of pursuing a career, getting a degree. But all of that 3D stuff, is not why we're here, at the pinnacle of my career. I wanted to do more. I was in healthcare for over 20 years, helping people physically, but there was something within me that was just missing or seeming unfulfilled. It didn't matter how many, first class flights I took or how many bags I had or what I was wearing. None of that made me feel fulfilled. So I then began to go on my own spiritual journey and becoming a disciple of self, learning how to discipline certain aspects of my own mind. And it was then that I stumbled upon the 7 Hermetic principles or the 7 universal laws. And I just asked spirit, or, who I like to call the universal creator, most high consciousness, to teach me the laws and to teach me the way. And so, as a person who, did those things in that world, who I am now, I would say that I'm a student of life. I'm an international lover of self, like Common says, and I'm someone to help, not only share my story, but inspire and motivate others to, elevate the God being within them to realize their own Christ consciousness, through these principles that were left, over 36,000 years ago, before, the person, written in the Bible they call Jesus or Yeshua, ever existed. These principles existed because, like gravity, what goes up must come down. Natural law is something that cannot be changed or manipulated by man. So upon my journey, I just came to these principles, and that's who I am. That's where I am. And that turned into a book called From Fear to Freedom, Utilizing the 7 Universal Laws to Shift One's Mindsets, Habits, and Behaviors. And what's funny about my book is that, like, really like kind of low key, high key. I mean, you could tell I'm from Cali. Like it was about me healing from relationships, because oftentimes relationships are the catalyst for our own inner transformational growth. So from the time I was writing the book to publishing it to even a couple of years after, like I continue to learn more about myself through the principles and through the laws. So that's also within the book is insight into my healing through relationships and making some choices that were really stemming from childhood or insecurities or just not fully loving myself. And I think that we can all relate to that. So
you threw the Cali out there. They're not like us. Let's throw that in there. But I want to get into the 7 universal laws, but mastering your mindset is something I also picked up from some of your posts and things like that. So learning more about ourselves, but who we really are inside and the Christ inside of us, something that you pointed out. And in your darkest time, not you, but us, in our darkest times is when we will find more of ourselves. If we seek Him first, we'll also find ourselves. You said that you started this through relationships and, going with stuff that happened with your father and everything else. Can you tell us more about the 7 universal laws that helped you through this, and how did you discover them?
Well, I, within my humble beginnings, right? I always made a decision about what I wanted to become and do in life. When I was in high school, my high school counselor told me that I was dyslexic, that I'd be lucky if I got into a community college. And I was like, nah, like, I don't care what she says or what she thinks. I'm going to college and I'm doing this. So everything that I sought out to do, I did. However, when it came to my own personal things, like there was something that was missing. And I realized that it was a mindset. It was a mindset that I had always had. So, I got really spiritual. I was studying Christianity, and, like the Bible says, seek ye first in the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. Mm-hmm. So how am I seeking ye first? Literally, seek yourself first and the kingdom of heaven. So I was reading the Bible, and I stumbled upon a character called Malachi or what have you. And my mom, growing up Baptist since I was 3, in church Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. potluck, I was like, vacation Bible study, you know, I was like, this is the source of my information. So I called my mom up, and this is in 2015. And I was like, yo, mom, who is this character? And she was like, he's the Jesus before the Jesus. And I was like, what? Hold up. She was like, nah, yeah, God sent him down and they killed him. And I was like, what? So then I was just mind blown. I read the book of Enoch and just getting my hands on any information that I could. And, knowing my origin, of, what if I was born in another country? What about those religions? So I started studying, other religions and other spiritualities. And it came down to one common denominator for me. At first, I thought it was astrology, and so I got into what my sun, my moon, and my rising was and all that. And then I realized, well, what's the origin of astrology? What's the origin of the universe? And being that I'm someone who's scientific, I have a medical background, I wanted to know the laws. So I studied, Eckhart Tolle, Plato, Niskinsky, and it just all came down to the 7 universal laws. And the first law in particular was the one that got me, because that's when I realized that I was doing everything within my own mind, and that the kingdom of heaven was in my own mind. And so that's the law of mentalism, is that all is the mind, the universe is mental. The universe itself is mental. And so, that we come from a consciousness that not only thought to create us in its own likeness and image or in imagination, but it also sought to have this life experience and to create in the physical form. And so from a spiritual, scientific, and metaphysical perspective, it just made sense to me, because why wouldn't God also be science if God created science? Why wouldn't God also be spirituality? And why God wouldn't also be beyond the third dimension? Because I myself have had ghostly experiences. I mean, that could be a whole nother podcast. Like real talk. And I have friends who are tapped in. Like, I know that it's real. I can't see it with my fleshly eye, but I know that there is something, call it black matter, call it whatever you want, that is greater than this physical form. And that's the universal great subconscious mind, that speaks everything into existence. And so, yeah, that's mentalism. I think I kind of just went off a little bit. I don't know if I answered your question.
I was following you. I was asking about the 7 laws, and you told about the first law of mentalism. And I do see that. Yeah, what came to my mind just now was when somebody is sick and they put them in a coma. They put you in a coma so you can rest and your mind can heal and your body can heal itself. We have the tools within us. We just got to tap into a lot of those tools. And if you can do it unconsciously, right? They put you in a coma, but imagine what you could do consciously if you really dig into yourself and really understand how much power you actually have. They said we only tap into 10% of the brain.
Yeah,
tap into 15, 20.
Are even greater than that. And it's something is interesting too. When I was in pharmaceuticals, I was in that for 5 years. And so I had to read a lot of prescribing information and clinical studies. And I found it fascinating that a lot of the clinical studies, the placebo effect had statistical significance and greater effects just by somebody believing that the sugar pill was working. Like, that's the incredible fascination and the power of the mind. And, even some of the conversations that I had with neurosurgeons, when people would be considered technically brain dead, and hearing stories and experiences, of their consciousness, of them coming back because of the power of belief, the power of their family, or because of the belief of that person. So yeah, it's interesting.
So over this time you started this study, you said about 2015, and part of it was from relationships, heartbreak, and everything else. But being able to learn more about who you are, what are some other things you discovered?
One of the things that I really discovered was that if I could believe in anything that I put my mind to, right? And the idea that I can create my own heaven, or I can create my own reality, then what would that look like and how would that look? So in learning mentalism, and then learning the law of vibration, understanding that when you have a thought, that comes from your subconscious mind, and you give energy and attention to it, then it carries its own vibration, and that permeates throughout your entire body, and that then becomes a word or an action or a feeling, and that then is going to turn into an effect, which will then take us into the third universal law, which is as above, so below, as within, so without. So as you feel within, it's going to happen without of you. That will then produce a either positive or a negative effect, depending on the frequency of the vibration of that thought that you were thinking. And then that will then create, that cause will then create an effect. And then it goes on, you either maintain its frequency, and then that turns into the law of rhythm. And then that can birth something, which is the law of gender. That's the best way that I can describe the 7 universal laws. But within that process of me realizing that there were certain beliefs that I had that were causing me to feel and think a certain way, I realized that, like, the more that I gave energy to those things, the more that I thought about it, the more that I ruminated about it, the more that I complained about it. Because in understanding the laws, I understand that the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between good, bad, right, or wrong. It just gives me what I focus on the most, and whatever I focus on the most is gonna create a frequency, and where attention goes, energy flows. So I'm creating a flow of energy that is going to predict my future in the 3D world. I'll manifest that. So the biggest thing for me in learning the laws was the cause and effect of that entire process, when I just had a thought that originated in my mind. Because in my book, I have a story where, like, I landed on the plane one night, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and the guy that I was seeing at the time, I was like, well, I just started wondering what he was doing. And then I created this story in my mind that caused me to, like, go and drive by his house at like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm sitting there like in my normal sane mind, like, I would normally not do this. But when you have a thought that is so strong and it takes on this emotion, neuroscientists will tell you it hijacks your prefrontal cortex, which literally, like, makes you basically like you're drunk. Like, you lose all of your cognitive ability. So yeah, I'm basically like drinking and driving emotionally, on my own drug, right? We're drinking my own poison hemlock, and like doing that. And like, after I had that feeling, and just literally I had to let it go through my body. Like, sometimes you gotta literally be like, okay, like, sometimes you gotta let yourself fall on your face. Like, I have 2 boys, and I had to learn when they were younger, like, my brothers and everybody else told me, like, hey, you can't baby them. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to let them fall. And, like, as an early mom, I'm like, oh my God, he hurt himself, It's like, but he had to learn. So, like, I wasn't getting it. So, like, I think sometimes intentionally our higher self, or the part of us that is really tapped in with source, because sometimes we forget that we're tapped in, we lose sight of being in this fleshly body because it has a memory of its own. That's a whole nother conversation.
You're taking me somewhere. I'm about to go there.
But we lose sight of the fact that we're creators, right? Like, we forget. And so sometimes we gotta, like, scrape our knee, or we gotta, like, go through that emotion. Or sometimes the creator can be like, no, he's not good for you, and I'm gonna keep putting you in these situations until you get it. And so, like, I had to learn that I was the cause and the effect, so that I could go with the rhythm and the flow of life. And the other key thing that I learned about the laws is an old school chant that I used to learn when I was little. And this is like so true. It's concentration. Concentration is the game. Keep the rhythm. So, like, I used to play that. But, like, it really is about maintaining your concentration with what it is that you want, and, like, what that feels like. Because when you want to manifest something, and this speaks on the law of gender, is when you are impregnated with an idea or you're going to give birth to something, right? You don't seek out pregnancy. Like when I'm 3 months pregnant, I ain't wishing that I'm pregnant. I already know that I got a baby in me. And so that's a different feeling. That's a different frequency that you omit. And so it's a feeling of like relief, of satisfaction. It's the same feeling of relief and satisfaction that you have when the baby comes out and you're like, oh, it was all worth it. So I learned that I had to concentrate on that feeling for an extended period of time. Like, and the problem is that, you know, we've been programmed and conditioned by society and the side effects of society and constantly releasing our cortisol levels and stress and worried about dumb stuff like paying bills and electricity. Unfortunately, we got to play the game, but we can master it by learning these rules and these laws so that we don't have to worry about. So it's just this interesting cycle. So that's what I've learned about myself.
I'll tell you where you took me with that part of your conversation was the Matrix. We are in the Matrix, and it's funny how that movie actually is more true than people understand what we're actually going through. So when you talk about being subconscious but being conscious, it definitely, if people have not seen the Matrix, they need to see the Matrix and really see what they're trying to tell us.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I love the concept of Neo and Trinity, you know, because Trinity actually represents the Holy Trinity, which is 1, 2 through. That's going through when we think about the triangle and the different planes of existence and transcending, right? But what's interesting about the Matrix is that it's really the matrix of our own mind. Like people want to say, oh, it's the Matrix, or it's the man working against us, or it's Christianity, or it's this religion, or it's that religion, or I need to do all these things that are outside of myself. But again, seek ye first. Seek yourself first. So like, what's within your mind? Like, are you distracted by the woman in the red dress? You know, are you caught up in somebody else's system, somebody else's dream, and working that 9 to 5 and just being on automatic pilot? You know, how are you unplugging yourself mentally, you know, and how do you believe that you're the one? Because if all things are possible, like when he went to the Oracle, right? My girl, right? She actually looked like my grandma too. My grandma was like, yes, I got a black woman. So like, you know, when she said, well, do you believe that you're the one? Do you believe that you're the one? Well,
that can be a question to anyone. Do you really believe it? You can question yourself. If you believe it, yeah.
Then all things are possible. That those who believe in what? Believe that it's possible. So what is a belief? A belief is a thought that you just keep thinking. And you have certain strong beliefs and things like that because you've thought them for 20, 30 plus years because that's been embedded and programmed in your mind. I mean, as someone who was a strategic global marketer, there's a reason why I would spend $50,000 on an ad or a commercial, because there's psychology behind repeating information to people, because the mind learns things in 2 ways. You know, we have by experience or repetition. That's the only way that the human mind can learn. So when you experience something that evokes emotion, or when you repeatedly put it in people's minds. So yeah, we really do have to protect our eyes, our ears, our mouths, you know, from what we constantly are feeding our attention to, which brings us back to the social media conversation.
Well, we're going to end on the social media conversation, and I'm going to talk about one of the videos I believe I watched earlier today. You were speaking to the kings out here from a woman's perspective, speaking to us. Do you have any messages that can help us be better at who we are? Speaking to our queens.
So to the kings, you said, do I have a message for the king and the queen?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Both, please.
Okay. All right. So to the kings, I would say work on developing your emotional intelligence muscle. You know, I understand that we as melanated beings have struggles and challenges and goals and desires. And we're all raised differently. Even me and my brothers have different perspectives, and we came from the same household. However, when you are involved with a woman, just make sure that you come 100. Whatever you want, there's always something out there for you. Develop emotional intelligence skills so that you can learn how to communicate, express your feelings, without feeling like you need to present, perform, or be manipulative, with your intentions. Always keep it 100. For my queens out there, I would say continue to do the work. Know that you're beautiful. Also know that you don't need to help. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to seek anything outside of yourself either on that end, because a lot of women are looking at relationships from the perspective of lack, or thinking that their time is running out, or their clock is ticking, or, they're never going to find anyone. But if you continue to believe that, then you're going to continue to have those experiences. So, focus on creating the life and the love that you want within yourself first, so that you have the strength and the discernment, so that you're not choosing a person out of desperation or feeling like they're going to feel a need and come into your life. Make sure that you're choosing partners out of wholeness. And I would say this for both. Make sure that you're choosing a partner out of wholeness and not boredom, or not, looking to fill some kind of void. Really seek it as something that is serious, a life partner, and someone that is going to complement and add value to your life in ways that you should be open to, because society's definition of that is not your true definition and need. So you got to seek yourself first to know what you want and what you don't want, so you can understand what your true preferences are by knowing yourself first before you can learn somebody else. Because that's another common mistake that I think a lot of people make. They don't even know themselves, and so they don't even know what they're looking for. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go try this, or I'm gonna go try that, and I'm not happy and fulfilled. Well, you don't even know yourself. You don't even know how to be by yourself. Like, you always looking for entertainment or somebody to give you energy and attention. Like, I've been celibate for a whole year now. Like, and I'm not on no dating app. I don't let people slide in my DMs like that. Like, when I go out, I truly look to have fun within myself, because I'm in the process of like really getting to know me. I realized that I was like a serial monogamist. I've been in relationships for a while. Like, this is the longest that I've been single without longing for a relationship. And I'm enjoying that space. And I'm not giving myself a time limit. I'm making sure that I'm fully in alignment with myself. And at that destination, a king will anoint you. I'm quoting Kwame again. So.
It has been a pleasure. Definitely, like I said, you are welcome back anytime. I love the message for the kings and queens. Definitely go ahead and give them your information, where they can find you at, and where we can elevate with you at.
So y'all can find me on IG at Satrah Anuket. That's SATRAH_ANUKET. Also my website, satrahanuket.com. I've made a commitment to get more of my video content out. So I'm on YouTube. I got some videos on there. I'm about to do another one on the law of polarity, and that duality is illusion. There is no devil, or you're the devil, really. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, check me out. I'm also in Cali. I'm doing, I do events out here. I love to connect with people in person. I'm an avid hiker as well. So, you might find me on a trail somewhere.
I got my trail app. I'll be everywhere I go. I'll be on my trail app. So, where can I get the book at?
You can find the book on Amazon. Yep, it's From Fear to Freedom. Just type in my name and please leave me a review or even hit me up on my website or Instagram. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm really curious to know how it helps people. My book is only 198 pages. However, it is packed with a lot of good information. I have people that say they got it highlighted. They've read it 8, 10 times. It's like a guide for them. So yeah, I'm always curious to know what people think. So if you do happen to purchase it, please hit me up.
Definitely. Be sure to follow her. Be sure to hit her up, DM her, let her know what you thought of this interview. She's part of the family now, so anytime you want to come back, like I said, you're welcome to come back. Leave her a voicemail, 762-333-2032. That's 762-333-2032. Or you can go to cousinedscorner.com. Across top of the page, hit leave voicemail and leave her a voicemail there. So, Queen, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And don't forget, when my sister wins, we all win, and we are winning with you today.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Peace, family. It's your girl, Satrah Anuket, author of From Fear to Freedom, a book about utilizing the 7 hermetic principles to shift one's mindsets, habits, and behaviors. I am excited to announce that I am a guest this week on Cousin Ed's podcast. Join me while I share my experience and my journey by utilizing these 7 laws to change my life. Peace.
Hey, y'all. Aisha here, founder and CEO of the Sisters in Business Expo, the country's only multi-city small business expo and community created to celebrate and educate entrepreneurial women of color. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. And remember, when my sister wins, we all win.
This episode of Cousin Ed's Corner was brought to you by The Sister Shop. Please be sure to visit them at thesistarshop.com. That's thesistarshop.com. Thesistarshop.com. Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.